Hey, we are now online on Mohanji and I page also. Welcome, Jai Mohanji, everybody. So, second, second Guru Leela reading for this month. We do this for those of you who just joined today. We do it daily. I mean, every Sunday, 4 p.m. IST. Okay, so those of you who have not been joining, and you can continue to join. And today we are going to be looking at Guru Leela 6, volume 6. We're going backwards, okay, from 7 onwards. So we are on Guru Leela book 6. So in case you feel, whenever you want to share something or, something resonates with you, feel free to share after we finish the reading. Feel free to share with us. So, all of us also get inspired by it. Hello, Sheetal. Welcome.
Jai Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji. Today, my teammates Subhashri and Shama are not here. I'll be here with you all, and co-hosting with me will be Suvita. And so, actually, when talking about our testimonials team, like last time Subhashri told you about the three of us, how she started this in 2017. I soon joined her within a year. And it has been so beautiful, because at that point I was also new. I was just about 3-4 years with Mohanji, and I was new and reading each and every testimonial, since 2009, 10, 11 and all that, those testimonials. It was just amazing, people's experiences, and it was so inspiring. And from that day to till today, anyone, whoever writes and sends those testimonials to us, it's such a pleasure. We can sometimes feel the experience that the person went through, and how they connect to Mohanji with that. And reading these testimonials, even editing and publishing, helping in the publishing, has helped me a lot in connecting with Mohanji, I should say, because it inspired me a lot. And Subhashri's experience, so many people have written, Madhu, Subhashri, Preeti, so many people with so many various aspects of Mohanji coming into it. It's been so beautiful. I'm sure all of you also feel that, right? Yeah. Yes. Yes. I love the thumbs up from Michael. Yes. Yes, Salwa. And it's been an exciting, volunteering work with the testimonials team. And, for me, what was most important was collating all those and bringing out the Guru Leela books. So, right from, the name of the title, Guru Leela, how much of brainstorming we did, how we went about it, and how we started the whole book from book 1, not knowing much about all these things. And today we are in book 7, completed book 7. So it's been a amazing journey so far. And I have also contributed a little with my own testimonials to all of you, please. So if you feel inspired, Michael has written a few, I know. Sheetal has. So also has Suvita. So if you all would like to contribute more, please feel free. Write down your experiences, because Moji always says, "No, your experiences are your own. They are true for you," right? So write down those experiences, and you can send them to testimonials@moji.org. Okay? So shall we start? And today, from Guru Leela book 6, we will start. And we are going to be reading about the preface of Devi Mohan's. Okay? Devi Mohan's beautiful preface. Um, I'm sorry, I think in YouTube, just kidding. Yeah, now I think we are good. I think my voice from MAI page was coming up, and let me start reading now. Okay, all of you know Devi Mohan, right? So nothing to tell you much about that. about Devi Mohan. You all know her very well. She's Mohanji's wife. And maybe I can even read out a small description of what we have written about Devi Mohan. Okay. Devi Mohan, she's also the global ambassador, okay, for the Mohanji Foundation. She's the global president for ACT Foundation, a board member of the Maitri Board, Maitri Method, and the director and senior faculty member of the Himalayan School of Traditional Yoga. She's born in Yugoslavia. She lives now in Novi Sad, Serbia. She has a bachelor's degree in international affairs from John Cabot University in Rome and a master's in peace studies from the United States. So she married Mohanji in 2010 and they have a beautiful daughter, Leela. Yeah. So now we will start reading Devi's chapter. It was a foreword that she had very sweetly written and sent for Guru Leela Book 6. Okay. You're a galactic serpent, one of the most powerful signs as per the Mayan astrology, a friend once told me. This sign is typical for charismatic, dynamic leaders, healers, and psychics who have great stamina and creativity. However, I soon learned that this serpent would have most likely remained on the ground without a pillar that would support my vertical ascent, meaning spiritual elevation. When Baba brought Mohanji into my life in January 2007, I knew I found my pillar. Without him, I would have undoubtedly ended up being manipulated by some predator out there due to my often childlike, rather naive nature. Or I would have remained a slave of my patterns, which surely aren't easy to overcome for anyone on the spiritual path. Mohanji's unconditional love and support and authentic walking the talk lifestyle, combined with occasional mentoring and scolding, simply to put me back on track, was what really worked for me and suited my nature. Most importantly, Mohanji always gave me space, respected my free will, and allowed for my own choices and authentic expression, while at the same time helping me bring more awareness into every choice that I make. Over time, I have learned to always wait for inner confirmation in order to be sure that the choice that I'm making at any given moment is really aligned with my highest truth and the ultimate goal of liberation from all the bindings of life. Over the years, I started noticing how many people simply move from one trap to another during their entire life. Just like an addiction to sugar, which is added to most of the products on the market with the clear intention of creating that addiction. We are not too bothered to work on liberating ourselves from certain traps simply because our society accepts them as normal. But having a living master in one's life is a whole different ballgame. Even the smallest speck is glaringly visible on the pure white cloth. The light of awareness is continuously present around the master, and many times this surely is not very comfortable. That's why one can say with certainty that there is no greater blessing than having a living master in one's life. Being continuously alert and aware is definitely not in our nature, and the pull of patterns and comfort zones is way too big. That is why we start sinking into the same old rut without even noticing it. In fact, the traps on the path are so many, and distractions, along with daily duties and responsibilities, are very overwhelming that we soon realize there is not much quality time left for working on our liberation. Indeed, the effort for silencing the mind, or pure selfless work that cleanses the path for Kundalini, the promise of divine within us, as Mohanji once called it, has to be chosen consciously with utmost dedication. The presence of the Guru ensures that the needle of our inner compass always remains pointed towards liberation. Recognizing the inner dynamics on the path of liberation truly is a challenge. There are many layers and subtle nuances that can be uncovered only through one's direct experience. Therefore, deep in my heart, I know this book and the entire Guru Leela series for that matter will be a precious guide to many people at present and in the time to come. May the experience and insights shared on these pages help the reader uncover the often hidden aspects of these dynamics and learn how not to make the same mistakes to maximize the use of time while walking the path of liberation, to liberation. I feel so blessed to have met each and every soul knitted into the tapestry of this book. Each one of them is a true inspiration. So much purity, so much profoundly intense dedication for this path, and willingness to go out of their way to become purified and nullified in the context of ego in order to achieve and maintain the depth of connection with the consciousness of Mohanji is truly touching. I observe them silently during our many interactions and have to admit that I sometimes get suddenly overwhelmed by pride, followed by tears of gratitude. I wonder whether the initial disciples of Joshua ben Joseph, who later came to be known as the apostles of Jesus Christ, had the same feeling. I sometimes have to pinch myself that this experience is truly real and that such pure souls are part of my global family. So much has happened since 2007 when I met Mohanji, and in 2012 when the mission work officially started. More than any measurable result, such as the number of people who attended Mohanji's programs, the number of likes on social media, etc., it is a transformation visible in the lives of people who continuously walk this path and cannot be shaken in their conviction that actually says it all. During one of the satsangs in 2014, Mohanji said something that I have witnessed in my own life as a great truth. Quote, the darker path is the path of zero free will. The moment you commit your soul to it, you are controlled completely. The brighter path is the path of complete liberation, where free will is totally respected. So, the guru of the white or the bright path will never say, you must do this. If you'd like, I'll help you. If you don't like it, you can have your own free will. But on the dark side, there will be insistence. If you don't do this, you will have a problem. I would say that if meditation binds you, it's also a binding. You should be liberated at every point in time. But if you like to meditate, meditate. Your free will, your destiny, the path is yours. And this is to be respected 100%. In our spiritual path, we have to be very careful. It's not easy to keep ourselves purified all the time. You must have a clear vision to know exactly what you're doing and where you're going. Unquote. I'll never forget how introverted and silent Mohanji was when I met him back in 2007. His room was like a cave. Sometimes he would forget to even open the window and let some fresh air in. Only the subtle glow in his eyes and his glossy cheeks would give away the inner bliss he was feeling all the time during his solitude. I knew that he often felt the pain of violated stillness and would easily get tired of the superficiality. Yet, if there was one soul genuinely interested in liberation, asking for help, he would go out of his way to provide the necessary guidance and inspiration. In an interview, Mohanji shared that he was silent by nature, and it was I who had discovered him. When Mohanji communed with Sai Baba, he asked him, why are you sending a woman to me now? Baba said, she'll be the one speaking in front, and I will be the power behind. Mohanji also asked me to think well before marrying him in terrestrial terms. Many were already married to his consciousness, and it would never be a normal married life because he would never be in one place. What I love the most about our married relationship is the free space and the freedom to improvise. And I must say, I do not have anyone who has done this before me. There is nobody's example to emulate. As a European woman who married a spiritual master from India, I'm truly walking the path of consciousness, mostly without my husband's physical presence. Yet, connection with his consciousness is always felt, along with the immense grace that comes from it. And that is all that matters. Without a husband by my side, with a daughter, countless responsibilities, and no secure income, not to mention jealousy and heaviness due to dark energy attacks that sometimes happen, there were moments when my mind would pull me into insecurity and make me question my choices. Yet, that would never last long, and I would never get really tilted. My father loves to remind me that I could have had a promising career after graduating from Notre Dame University with a prestigious master's degree. But such a career was his dream, not mine. That was never the mastery I longed for. I never regretted making my choices. And even though Mila and I meet Mohanji only a couple of times per year, mainly during our programs at various locations around the globe, his loving presence is always felt in our lives. As I have shared in my autobiography, there are countless examples of the most unexpected occasions when Mohanji would surprise me with how much attention he gives to the smallest details of our earthly family life. I would like to share one such example. During one of our early retreats at Andravale in Serbia in 2016, while we were going to the venue to start the program, Mohanji suddenly inquired about my father. At that time, my mother went to Slovenia to take care of Mila, while my father agreed to stay alone at our home in Novi Sad. Even though we were in a hurry to reach the venue on time, Mohanji insisted that we take the road to Novi Sad and visit my father. I was really surprised knowing how much he likes to be on time. Yet, when we reached our home in Novi Sad and surprised my dad, I realized how lonely he was and how much this brief, loving visit uplifted his spirit. We also brought him a small gift because his birthday was the following day. I have to admit, I did not even think about visiting my dad there, but Mohanji did. He knew it was important, and this really touched my heart. Indeed, he always takes care of his dharmic family duties in the most beautiful and often surprising ways, be it with his parents, my parents, Mila, myself, or anyone else. But most importantly, he makes all those who commit to this path and volunteer for the Mohanji Foundation or any of its many platforms from the heart feel like a family member. That is truly rare. A connection not just for life, but beyond the boundaries of life and death. May the dimensions of the sacredness of this relationship uncovered in this book expand your horizons and help you realize the ancient truth that only what is immeasurable, what is not Maya, is actually real. Only love is real. With love, Devi Mother. So, what do you all have to say to this? I can see from some of the smiles how touching it is, isn't it? It's not easy being Devi Mohan. Yes, Michael.
It's an amazing sharing. I mean, what I get from that obviously is that Davey's saying she's come from a European background. with all the developments as a girl in Yugoslavia working her way through different traumas. I've read her autobiography. It's amazing, and I have to admit, and she knows this because I've said it. I bought Davies' book, and then I bought Mohanji's Silence of Shiva. I actually read Davies' book first, and I read it in 3 days. I couldn't put it down. It was that amazing just to read her experiences, because there's something about it that's very real. And I think she's been completely honest in that book, and she says so herself. So you do get a real sense of Davy through that particular book. But what makes me smile is that only love is real, and we often wonder what actually love is. But I mean, Sati Sai Baba, he continuously told us, he Prema Swarupa, embodiments of love. So love is your actual nature. It's not something you do or create or give. You simply are love. And how do you share that love? Well, by putting your attention on something. This is really important, I think, that we understand that when we put our attention, truly focus on something, what we're doing is we're sharing our energy, which is love, with that object, which is why I think many of these so-called stars out there in the big wide world crave our attention. I think on some level they realize that by getting people's attention, they're getting, in effect, their divine energy of love given to them. And this is something I don't think people realize, that what we have to do is stay focused, stay clear, and then direct our attention to what actually is beneficial, which, as Davey said, is liberation. You keep focused on that through connection.
Absolutely, Michael. That very well put, beautiful insight, and a kind of, a comprehensive way of telling us only love is real. And Mohanji is always speaking about that. He says the truth is love. The only truth is love, and that is inherent in us, right? So thank you so much for that beautiful sharing. Very beautiful. Ah, that's a lovely flying kiss from Alu up to you. Beautiful, Alu. It's really lovely. Yeah, love is what it is. And it is this love that keeps all of us together, the entire Mohanji family. And Mohanji personifies this love. Because that's what I feel. When I look at Mohanji and look at the eyes, in the depth of those eyes, all that is there is love. So, yeah, beautiful. Thank you for the sharing, Michael.
Bless you.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, we have a beautiful small quote, not exactly small, it's about a page, and by Mohanji on relationships. So I thought I'll read that also before we go on to another foreword written by Dominic Wenton. Okay, so I'm sure you would want to hear Mohanji's words. So here it goes. Some relationships last moments, some hours, some days, or weeks, or months. Some survive years, but all relationships have their duration. Nothing is eternal except our relationship with consciousness. This is eternal. This is beyond birth and death. Since all relationships are temporary, it is important to cherish them while they last. Relationships come and go. Life has its own flow beyond birth and death. Perhaps we may meet again at different times, in different spaces, in different forms, to complete what we left unfinished. Hence, complete and conclude every relationship while it lasts. Respect all relationships. Never judge, criticize, compare, or compete. Instead, accept, respect, and love. This is what wise people do. Wise people have no conflicts. The connection, intensity, and flavor of every relationship are strictly karmic as a continuation. Acceptance is the only way to break patterns. Avoidance and resistance keep the intensities longer. Life is a product of karma. It is as you are. No relationship in life is unwanted. Everything has a reason, and everything has its own natural culmination. Great relationships are sustained with freedom, acceptance, letting go, and forgiveness, not through ownership, control, and possessiveness. All are karmic beings and can work only within their individual, unique karmic boundaries. Mohanji. Think time to contemplate, right? We really need to think about this. Definitely. He's always speaking about it. And he says respect and love and be there in all your relationships. So we don't have to come back again also. Okay, so moving on to our next forward by Dominic Welton. To tell you a little about Dominic Welton, he connected with Mohanji recently and let's shift this a little. He's actually a British entrepreneur from Cornwall, UK. He lives in Brazil with his family. He's the founding partner of the luxury fragrance Roja Perfumes. He's focused on philanthropy and helping the community with conscious living. Connected to Mohanji since 2023, Dominic serves Mohanji's mission as the president of the Mohanji Association Brazil and CEO of the World Tribal Alliance, a platform created by Mohanji dedicated to preserving nature by unifying and promoting the great indigenous tribes of the world. So for you to know, he's also been recently in the Global Family News for the Mohanji fragrance that he just released. It was released in Scotland recently. So there have been posts about this on Facebook and Instagram too. You can go and look it up. There is a beautiful, lovely, fragrant perfume called Mohanji. Okay, so moving on to what Dominic has to say. It's 2 p.m., October 5th, on a particularly hot and humid Brazilian day. I'm racing around Araxá, the Minas Gerais farming town that my family and I live in, frantically trying to get a very special picture framed before the arrival of our unlikely house guest. Adding to the strain, it's been 2 years of painstaking work to renovate our home, and it's not quite ready. There are painters, carpenters, and tilers applying the finishing touches, with a crew of very tired ladies cleaning, polishing, unpacking, and arranging our things, all quietly praying that some miracle will allow for all of this to be ready in time. My wife, Anna, is en route to the airport and has been instructed to delay as much as possible. My tightly strung British nervous system is at capacity. This story started on a business trip to the south of France several years ago. My brother had recommended a couple of weeks prior to the trip that I read Conversations with God, the well-known spiritual text by Neil Donald Walsh. Immersed in materialism and building mindlessness, I made it clear that I had no time for such nonsense. Returning to work, when running a search for the term Russian contract in my computer documents, the very book that he had suggested was somehow fully downloaded as a PDF on my hard drive. While I feigned nonchalance to my brother, the impossibility of this filled me with an anxious excitement that maybe there was more to life than I had previously assumed. 2 weeks later, I was lying on a bed in a beautiful old Art Deco hotel, lazily watching the yachts disappearing into the Mediterranean sunset. Feeling content and at peace, I decided to give this mystery book a try. After reading just a few lines, I started to feel gentle waves of bliss moving through me. For the first time in my recollection, the nagging negative voice in my head seemed to dissolve, leaving me feeling spacious, free, and full of love. A few wonderful months later, I found myself sitting in a plant medicine ceremony in Costa Rica. after going through some deeply uncomfortable emotions, an unknown force threw me forward on my mattress, cementing my hands in a prayer position in front of my face. I couldn't have moved if I wanted to. There, in front of me, emanating an otherworldly, unspeakably powerful love, was the form of Christ, resplendently glowing in his full rainbow-colored glory. There was no question of surrender as I merged into him, somehow dissolving and becoming the entire universe at once. For several weeks after this, a comforting, loving voice seemed to speak through me, blessing everyone who crossed my path. I felt wonderful. I intuited from this experience that God had worn the mask of Jesus on to release my mind enough to permit surrender. I felt this was just one of an infinite assortment of masks that the unconditional love responsible for all creation wears to be able to interface with the other, more forgettable parts of itself, beckoning them home. I became fascinated with other examples of humans that had integrated their individually conditioned minds sufficiently for this unimaginable force to work through them, using their forms in this way. I read every book I could find. The more obscure, the better. Within a short period, I stumbled across Shirdi Sai Baba. After devouring as much information as I could find, I took a nap one afternoon and found myself again on my hands and knees, this time prostrating before Sai Baba. He looked at me with a knowing smile and casually said, "This one wants it all." He then told me to fetch him a glass of water. I jumped up, eager to serve, and promptly woke up. At this time in my life, I was experiencing a lot of deep emotional turmoil. It was, and it still is, as if I was being slowly cleaned from the inside out. A mentally, emotionally, and physically draining process that I suspect readers of this book are well acquainted with. I decided one night that I needed a little more direction. Which of God's loving mass should I focus my efforts on? I got on my hands and knees before my altar and confidently asked the question of both Sai Baba and Christ. That night, I dreamed that I was in a conga line at a party. Shirdi Sai was at the front. Dancing heartily, he pulled me out of line and put my hands on his shoulders. I woke up immediately, happily laughing out loud. Message received. Back to our special guest. Shortly after this dream, I read the book Autobiography of an Avadhuta. Towards the end, Avadhuta Nadananda mentions an encounter with Mohanji, a living master whom he considered to be a worthy recipient of his extraordinary spiritual bank balance. While I had never been interested in a living master before, something in me felt pulled, and I looked for more information. The first thing I found was a video of Mohanji wearing a Shirdi Sai t-shirt, feeding some hungry children. What captured me was natural humility, not the deliberate type done in spite of a selfish mind, but the real, automatic humility that comes from direct experience of the divine. He had my full attention. As if pulled by some invisible thread, a month later, I found myself in Puri, India, for a spiritual retreat with Mohanji. Sitting and waiting for a satsang to begin, I felt anxious. My experience of Indian culture and gurus were all second-hand through books, and with an insecure mind paradoxically prone to both superiority and imposter syndrome, it dawned on me that my ego's stash of special achievements, stories, and material successes meant nothing more. As Mohanji eventually entered, confident and at ease, he took a sideward glance at me. My heart and mind immediately began to thaw. There was a texture to his presence that felt familiar. It was as if something bigger than a man had entered this room, and whatever it was clearly had the capacity to handle whatever mental and emotional baggage I had brought with me. Was this God dressed up in another mask, this time in the flesh? 2 blissful days later, I woke early to meditate, but I couldn't focus. What was the real reason for my 25-hour-long journey around the world? I decided that whatever it took, I would meet Mohanji one-on-one and find out. I made my way downstairs, crossed the street, and there he was, standing outside the venue, looking at me dead in the eye, arms open and smiling. I approached with caution, not quite believing what was happening. As I got close, he gave me a hug, received the perfume I had brought as a birthday gift, and said warmly, "We should meet tonight. Please speak with my assistant." I was elated, but also a little shaken. He seemed aware of my private intention to meet him. Most significant still, I felt that I had been talking in person, in physical reality, to that same energy that I'd merged with in Costa Rica. In addition to an intensification in the alchemizing churn of my trapped emotions, fears, and attachments, in the 8 months that followed this first meeting, a tidal wave of grace has blessed my family's life. The first event relates to our 3-year-old son, Neo. Neo was born with a rare genetic condition called Cornelia de Lange syndrome. Fortunately, his case is mild, but there have been challenges with his eating, coordination, and interpersonal communication. In that first one-on-one meeting with Mohanji, I asked him to bless my wife Anna and Neo via a video call. He readily agreed, and after a light-hearted chat with Anna, he clearly blessed Neo as he slept. In the coming days, Anna and my mother-in-law, Virginia, took Neo to the statue of Christ in our town. For prosperity, Virginia took a photo of Neo with Anna. At this very moment, an incredible cross of light appeared above them, beaming down directly onto the crown of Neo's head. Next to him was a large, very clearly visible orb of light. Since that day, there has been an extraordinary change in Neo's development. Every one of his therapists has independently commented on this inexplicable leap in his progress. When I brought this to Mohanji's attention, he quietly blessed us, as if he already knew exactly what had happened. I have included the photograph. Actually, the photograph is there in the book. The next significant event involving Mohanji occurred a couple of months later when my 82-year-old father was suffering in the hospital after a complex surgery on his large intestine. I agreed with my mother that I would even immediately fly back from Brazil to the UK to see him. Before traveling, I contacted Mohanji and asked if there was anything he could do. He said he was with him and that he had done everything possible to make him comfortable. The next day, my father woke up stronger, lighter, and with more energy. As I would be in the UK, Mohanji invited me to the Shirdi Sai Baba temple inauguration at Skandavale in Wales. I happily arranged my travel to attend. On the morning of the Sai Baba Prana Pratishtha, the doctors informed us that my father would spend at least another week in hospital. About an hour after Mohanji had breathed life into the Murti, I called my mother, still in a daze and feeling a little drunk from all the energy. To my great surprise, my father was sitting happily next to her on the sofa. He had been discharged and was now recuperating at home. Elated by this grace, I decided to stay on in Skandavale despite having nowhere to stay. I remember a strong desire to see Mohanji again, and I also really wanted some Udi, sacred ash, for my father. As I walked up the hill, Dirk, a loving and sincere devotee of both Mohanji and Sati Sai Baba, approached me unprompted and said, "These are for you and your father." He proceeded to give me with two items that Satya Sai Baba had personally blessed 25 years ago. Udi and an amulet with Christ on one side and Satya Sai Baba on the other. Again, message received. I had only met Dirk once that morning, making the synchronicity even more incredible. I gave the Udi to my father. He religiously takes a small amount of water every morning and is now almost fully recovered. Regarding my precarious accommodation situation, as soon as I saw Mohanji, he said to meet him that evening and that the bed would be arranged for me. I have given up asking how he knows. With this background, we return to Mohanji's imminent arrival at our madhouse in Brazil. Despite a debilitating case of gout, he quickly got out of the car to embrace me. As he did so, the crippling pain from a hemorrhage disc in my lower back immediately disappeared. As workers crept through the back door, he entered through the front. The house was impeccable, with no trace of the construction site from just days before. A true miracle. Then, like a scene from Dr. Dolittle, a flock of birds entered the house, landed in line, and seemed to bow to him. The same birds that had been busily flying around the house for the last week. Mohanji later confirmed that these were a spiritual army, clearing the space before his arrival. That night, Anna was suffering from a terrible migraine and decided to pray. She silently asked Mohanji, whom she had just met, if he could help out. Immediately, he clearly appeared in her mind's eye, and the headache disappeared. At breakfast the next morning, he casually asked me how her head felt. Anna was blown away. Despite the intense pain in his foot, Mohanji's trip to Brazil was magical and filled with many more miracles. From interdimensional visits in the night, where I was told not to enter his room under any circumstances, no matter what voices I heard, to Mother Amazon herself healing his gout, to simply watching old action movies together, it was truly incredible. To allow space for the other wonderful stories that will fill this book, I will save those for another time. There was, however, one moment that I would like to share, as I think it might resonate with readers. One night, there was a lot of noise coming from a party nearby. Mohanji insisted it didn't bother him, but I felt compelled to do something. Upon returning, he asked why I went to the trouble, as he really didn't mind. I thought for a moment and asked, Mohanji, what would you do if Sai Baba was sleeping in your bed and there was a loud party next door? He laughed and then said, as if something fundamental shifted within him, looked me dead in the eye and said, Sai Baba is sleeping in your bed. This was the confirmation I had been unknowingly seeking. When Sai Baba motioned for me to walk, or more accurately dance with him, he was indeed referring to Mohanji. In the short time since I met this extraordinary soul, I have gone from being a semi-retired stay-at-home dad to president of the up-and-coming Brazil Mohanji Association, CEO of the wonderful New World Tribal Alliance charity, an organization created by Mohanji to unite the great indigenous tribes of the world. And I'm helping the Mohanji International Foundation in the development of the essence of Mohanji, personal fragrance. My mind sometimes fights against this wave of Karma Yoga as I glitch in and out of consciousness. But something deeper and more solid is emerging. Christ's analogy of a house built on sand feels appropriate. As my individual character, built on the precarious moving sands of fear and illusionary self-importance, slowly and painfully dissolves, what seems to be peeking through is the rock of Mohanji's consciousness, which, when I allow it to, feels permanent and deeply reassuring. Perhaps it is my very own soul that I'm starting to feel, wearing a mask that I can respect and love in a way that I seem unable to do for myself. This mask doesn't live on a pedestal in my mind, but on a throne in my heart, lovingly watching and guiding my life without a shred of judgment. Thank you for taking time to read, to listen to these personal accounts. The Guru Leela series of books has helped me to solidify my faith. I wholeheartedly wish the same blessing for readers of this edition. I really had goosebumps reading this. I can see from most of your smiles, how much it touched all of you. Because I remember, when he said, Mohanji opening his arms out and embracing, I have felt that. And Arushi, you're here. Arushi's got that smile saying it all. It's so beautiful. The way he hugs you, the warmth with which he hugs you, it's mind blowing. And you always feel as though you're home, right? Anyone would like to share anything on this? So beautiful. Each and everything that Dominic spoke about, I think it resonates with all of us. Small things, in some way it resonates. Yeah. Yes, Arushi, would you like to say something?
Hi. So
Hi.
I was actually working on something on the side, but when when Dominic's account started, like everything, I just shut down all my computer windows and I was like fully focused. I wanted to hear it. I feel that this was actually very necessary for me to hear. Because as we start on this journey with MYC, and there are a lot of things that we are also working on the side. I feel that from him, because I'm also from a corporate background, and sometimes my mind goes a little haywire in terms of, so karma yoga is happening, and that's definitely something I want to focus on. But then the mind will come like, but what about this? And what about this? And society has expectations and people have expectations. You yourself have expectations. And that is sometimes it kind of it's my mind goes a little bananas. So I feel that I felt that this is something that is supposed to be experienced, processed, accepted, and then we continue with our work. So this account from Dominic was so powerful because I really resonated with what he was saying, and which is why I just wanted to say that this series of events that you are having, these sharing of personal accounts and testimonials, it kind of normalizes a lot of the struggles that we inherently go through. And we generally don't talk about all these things. So it's really helpful. And I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arushi. That was beautiful. Who else would like to say something? Sheetal, would you like to speak?
I just want to say that every word is like, balm on for us. I think for me, like everything hearing about Mohanji, just uh, not seals, but it just makes me go closer and closer. When I feel I can't go more closer, it is like that. And this particular thing, actually, I did last time I had met Dominique, and he had told me a little bit about it. He also had said at that time, I'm sure he's written in another experience, that there was a very powerful shaman. And before that, Devi ji, when she was taking conscious dancing, she said in one of the one of her programs, one lady, she just got this, and she had said at that time, the Amazon is waiting for Mohanji. and they were not even thinking of going to the Amazon at that point of time. And she was thinking, what is this? And now then it started becoming clear. And then when Mohanji and the shaman met, or whatever, two great beings met, there was so much energy, he said. And he actually showed me the picture, and actually through the picture you could feel that so much of energy. So I just remembered it. I think he's just done it well. Mohanji is too great. He just when you look at him, when people see him externally, you feel like he's a normal human being, but definitely not. Of course he's Datta, there is no doubt that he is Datta avatar. And very, very grateful that we are all with him. It must have done some part of good karma to ever be with a living master like Mohanji, and just want to be in his grace and surrender at his feet. The mind, everything at his feet. That's it. Jai Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji. Thank you, Sheetal. That is so cute and so beautiful. Actually, as we were reading, I was laughing because I remember the first time I met Mohanji, okay? I had absolutely nothing, for me, everything was Sai Baba and Shirdi Sai Baba. And because Preeti Gopal Ratnam told me, come and meet Mohanji, we're going to have a POP meditation. And so I went to meet him. So we were all meditating, and then when we open our eyes, we see this beautiful form in white, graceful, standing in front, It was so beautiful. And I was just watching him, and we had the satsang. I listened to everything. The only thought, I have found a friend. And I saw people going and prostrating and hugging him and all that. And I was, standing in one corner. What should I do? Kind of a thing. This is sometime in, I think, end of 2014, 2015, beginning, not too sure. Yeah. And then I slowly mustered up the courage and I said, I just went up to him. I said, Mohanji, I want to hug you. And that was it, He just hugged me and I just melted. That's all I can say. And from there, there's no looking back. And that was a hug I asked him for. And then my heart was yearning for the hug that he would give voluntarily. And that also happened. See how our mind is. And that also happened. So a lot of things, this way, it's so beautiful, and how Manji knows everything. Anyone else would like to share? Padmini is also here. Padmini, would you like to speak?
I had lovely experiences with hugging Mohanji. I think I would go crazy just to get his hug, and every hug of his has just whipped up so much emotion in me, and I've always ended up crying and laughing, and I don't know what I do when he hugs. That's all I can say. It's like I've come home. That's
Yeah,
exactly how I feel. It is like every hug is embedded in my heart, and I'm just grateful for every little of those experiences, and they hold me together. All these experiences, Dominic's and Devi's, it was so real when I read the book. As Michael said, I couldn't put the book down. I would wait to finish everything and then get back to the book. So the reality of their experiences, I think, helps us also to learn from our own experiences. And it's all these experience sharing is such a huge help, and guiding us in so many ways we don't even know.
very true.
Thank you, Rekha. Yeah.
Thank you, Padmini. Yes, I also know Padmini has told me about some of the hugs that she received. Anyone else would like to speak? This is so beautiful, isn't it? I mean, very two powerful write-ups in the Guru Leela book, Devi and Dominic. It's so powerful, and I could see Alua going into the prayer mode and feeling it so much. Her expressions, as I was reading, I was also sometimes looking at Alua, and I could see that. It was so very powerful. Anyone else would like to share? Because we're almost at the end of our 1 hour. Yes, Alua, please.
Yeah, I wanted to share, when Dominic mentioned Dirk giving him Vibhuti and the pendant, for me it was so mind-blowing, because this is what happened to me in MCB this summer as well, when Satya Sai Baba gave me, these items through hands of Dirk. It's, I don't know. I understand it is grace, and I'm so mind blown. I cannot imagine how this could happen, to me, that the avatar heard my heard me, and also avatar heard me. When I heard of Satya Sai Baba when he already left his physical body, and I was thinking, I would love to meet an avatar in person, and then I met Mohanji, in person, and I'm really grateful for this grace. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful. True, right? See, of any of these right testimonials, it somewhere resonates with us, isn't it? Yeah, somewhere, and we feel, yeah, oh yeah, we also live through that aha moment of ours, our own aha moments we have with Mohanji, and we live through that. It's so beautiful. Anyone else would like to share? Yes,
Can I
Michael.
just
Yes,
mention
please.
Dirk as well? Alan's experience and Dominic's experience. I actually met Mohanji for the first time through Dirk at the Prana Pratishta in Scandavale. I know nothing about Mohanji, but Satya Sai Baba I've been with for many, 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 many years, and it was through Dirk, because obviously Dirk is known as Baba's boy on one level, because Dirk spent many, many years with Satya Sai Baba. In fact, I think he's only the one of the few people who's ever meditated under Sai Baba's elephant, Sai Gita. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of it. He was that close to Satya Sai Baba. But Dirk is, do not be fooled by, it's just like Mohanji, do not be fooled by that facade, because Dirk is really, really special, hugely special. As of course Mohanji is. So I just wanted to mention Dirk because, oh my God, he makes me smile. He's an absolute joy, but he's a hugely special person.
True. I haven't met Dirk, but I've read his experiences. And also yours, Michael, your first meeting with Mohanji, your visit to Scotland. Beautiful ones. You can all look it up, and it's there in our Mohanji Chronicle site. So you can look it up, and you can read Michael's experiences also. Very beautiful experiences of how we met Mohanji. And okay, so we're almost to the hour. So we'll wind up for today, and we'll meet again next Sunday with yet another lovely story from the Guru Leela books. We're going to the book 5 now. Okay? And thank you all so much for being a part of this. And let's inspire more people to join us and share, and let's all grow together as a lovely big group of the Mohanji family. Thank you all so much. Thank you for all your sharings. Lots of love, and bye. Jai Mohanji.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rekha.
Jai Mohanji.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Rekha. Thank you. Have a lovely day, all of you.
Thank you, Rekha ji. Jai Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji.